Thank you. Hi, all. I will call this meeting to order for the Mayor's Office Selection Committee to review the ARPA Data and Evaluation RFP at 1:02 p.m. With that, I will call roll. Vernon,
Here.
Simon,
Yeah.
Christine,
Present.
Kelly.
Here.
Here, and then here, Grace Kim calling roll for myself. On that note, we have everyone present from the mayor's office, the president board of aldermen, as well as the comptroller's office. Our only agenda item today is to review the request for proposals for the ARPA data and evaluation RFP. And Simon had gone ahead and shared some of his comments via email to me because he will be needing to drop off at the meeting at 1:15. So I was going to screen share that RFP with his comments, but taking a pause in case anyone has any questions before I do so. And on that note, please let me know if you see a Word document being screen shared right now.
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Alrighty, so I acknowledge the timeline and the dates will all be updated. I was thinking about pushing this all back by 1 week, and then the RFP would get posted this afternoon. It would be due and returned by September 29th, and that means the bidders pre-application questions would change to the 22nd. Our selection committee notification then would be pushed to the 12th and the 13th. Does anyone have any concerns with those adjustments to the timeline? Okay. No one has any concerns. I will keep moving forward. Please, of course, ask me to pause if you have any questions. I will note that I'm not going to go through the entire RFP to update all the dates, but I will do so before posting it. And I am going to change this to be due by 4 p.m. Just as a note. And again, I'll change dates and go through it one more time. So I will take a pause here. This was required qualifications and certifications, and seeing if anyone has any questions or comments on page 5. Okay, I'm going to keep scrolling. Simon, I think this is yours, but please let me know if you're noticing any of your comments aren't present on the screen. So this is the next section before I go to scope of services and project objectives to see if anyone has any comments. All right, so we are now in scope of services and project objectives. And Simon, you did have an initial comment here. Are you asking me to add the word not in front of limited?
Correct, because I think it means under consideration, right? Yeah, but these are not the only ones under consideration.
Okay, that's fine with me.
I agree with that same one.
Thanks, Vernon. Okay. Simon, do you want to ask this question because you're here?
I'm under the evaluation questions. Oh, so I was saying, I was thinking of it through the eyes of a respondent and having to come up with evidence about personal finance impact. If people are familiar with doing this type of evaluations, it may make sense to them, but to a generic member of the public, it doesn't. And so maybe this is a good screening tool for who responds to the RFP, right? By not providing even more detail, it's a good screening tool. Otherwise, you have every kind of respondent trying to respond to it if you provide too much detail. So my question is, do you want to provide any more detail, or do you think this is enough information for a qualified respondent to have?
I could go either way. I'm sorry, I'm rereading the entire section to myself right now.
Grace, I think some of the information that's listed after the questions that you asked, the sort of sample questions, kind of, in my mind, further explains what you're looking for.
Okay. That's helpful. Vernon,
I had the same thought as Christine. Also, I don't think that I guess to Simon's point, it would kind of be self-selecting, right? If you understood what was happening there and then you read the rest of the scope, it's if you know about this stuff, then you'll know how to respond to it. If you don't, then you probably shouldn't be responding to this RFP.
okay. Simon, does that work for you then?
Yep, absolutely. So you can just resolve that or delete it, it's fine.
Probably just. All right. Hi, Simon. Do you want to ask this question?
Sure.
Well, while you're here, you
There's a
should,
pattern here.
put it on
There's
the
a pattern
record
here
and
that
ask.
and all of this is just trying, all my questions, all my comments are around scoping it for the respondent. Because when it is, you will develop databases, provide tools, construct files. Do we have some idea of how many we are talking about? Or is it really up to the respondent to come up with any number that satisfies the objectives of the RFP, right?
Mm-hmm. There are hundreds of ARPA projects. I think one thing it would be interesting to talk to the consultant about is if we should focus on priority projects for the city and then further do a deeper dive evaluation, while there may be a higher level evaluation with the key performance indicators we've been collecting for the ARPA projects. So I understand your question, because I do think it would change the scope drastically of, like, if you're asking someone to evaluate all 100+ projects, or if we're asking them to really just focus on 30 or 40 of them. Because we put the amount in there that this is 150,000 for over 3 years, I would like to keep it vague to see what the respondents come back with. But Simon, if you feel more strongly that we should be more specific, open to that feedback as well.
No, I don't feel strongly about it.
Anyone else on the call before I delete this comment feel strongly on the question Simon asked? I will delete that. Is this similar then, Simon?
Yep.
Okay. Do you want to specify it, or let's keep it vague for now?
I'm fine with the decision of the group. I'm not tied to it one way or the other.
Okay. And did I answer this question by saying it'll
Yep.
be over 3 years?
Well, I think it doesn't hurt to say it here, because yeah, you answered it from, if you looked at the schedule of events, that's when the contract starts and ends. But I mean, does it hurt to say? Yeah.
Does that clarify if I add 2023 to 2026?
Yeah, it does for me. Does it help anyone else? If it doesn't help anyone else, you can just delete it.
No, I thought it was helpful.
Great. Shall the host of monthly meetings? So that's a good question, Simon. I don't know how many internal partners this consultant will be working with, because it will, I think part of what we talked about before, it depends on how many projects they're gonna do a deep analysis in, and how, I think that then goes into how many case studies or partners they'll be working directly with.
Sure.
So you're okay with
Yep.
us working with the consultant on that? Okay.
Correct.
If I-
That's just an editorial comment. You can delete that.
Thank you for the editorial comment. Unfortunately, that was my budget.
Grace, do you happen to know if this is something that's a reasonable amount of money? Like, do you expect that you'll get responses even though it's not a huge chunk of change?
I think based on some of the work that the mayor's office has done before, we will get respondents, but I think respondents are probably going to Simon's point from earlier. Let us know that they can't evaluate deeply all 100+ projects, so that we need to identify what priority projects need a deeper analysis versus them helping us better organize our key performance indicators that we've been collecting, and how we better share that transparently with residents so that they can see what we've been tracking over time. I think, to your question, if we don't get any respondents, we'll probably have to revisit to see if we can find any other sources of funds and reissue the RFP.
Okay, yeah, and just a quick follow-up on that, I guess. How are you going to prioritize what you think needs to be evaluated?
I will look at probably the projects we already are collecting key performance indicators from and work from there. Happy to get feedback from the president's office and the comptroller's office as well on projects that are worth us talking about together to see if we want to do a deeper data analysis on it. Some of it will also be dependent on, I think, where we made some of the largest investments with the Board of Aldermen. So things around economic justice, I think we should do a deeper analysis, because we put a lot of money, for example, into affordable housing production and preservation. And I think those larger buckets, we should see the impact it's having within the city.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Simon, were those all your comments before you have to drop?
Yep, that's all I had.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from other committee members? The rest of the RFP, sorry, for transparency, is our standard RFP template of how the proposals will be evaluated, standard contract terms.
No, I was fine with everything else. I think the concerns or clarification I was looking for came through both Simon and Christine. So
Yeah, thanks. I'm kind of getting used to acting like a teacher on some of these with grammar and spelling errors and a bunch of mistakes. So this is nice to look at without having a lot of work to do. So thanks for your efforts on the front end there.
Thank you. I'm going to take that as a high compliment that you did not grammatically correct me. If there are no other comments or feedback, I would entertain a motion so that we could release this RFP today.
So moved.
Is there-
second,
All right. Oh, who gets a second, Kelly or Vernon?
I yield to.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It was moved by Simon, seconded by Kelly. I will go through the roll for voting. Simon?
Yes.
Okay. Vernon?
Yay.
Christine?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
And Grace, aye. I think I'm allowed to vote on this. Please correct me, Nick, if I was not allowed to vote. With that, the motion passes. The RFP will get posted today on the city's website. I will also reach out to our different anchor institution partners for data and evaluation support, as well as anyone else that I'm familiar that the mayor's office has worked with. But of course, Christine or Kelly, if there are firms that you would be interested in making sure that they know the RFP is posted, let me know and I'll send them a general email to just let them know the posting. And I will also ask that it get posted in the City Journal. And if no one else has any discussion items, I would entertain a motion for us to adjourn.
So moved.
So move.
All right, so moved by Christine. Vernon, was that a second?
It was a second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, any abstain? With that, our meeting is adjourned today. Thanks everyone for your time and happy Friday.